we are live. Yes. Doing it up again this morning. It is the Power Hour. And we're live. See if I can turn off the volume on my TV. For some reason, that's coming out the TV. Trying a couple little different things today. Going live on my Chris Logan page and sharing it to the Listen to the Planet page. Because Facebook's weird, man. Facebook is weird. Got like 2,000 people liking the Planet page and like 40 people see the live. So doing it on my Chris Logan Facebook page, and then I shared it to our Listen to the Planet page. But the Planet Power Hour, we get to all of our daily headlines, all in an hour, all talk. Then we get back to the 90s and 2000s rock at around 9 o'clock this morning. So what are we going to talk about today? Happy birthday to the Marines. First off, Marines celebrating their birthday today. Thank you so much to all the Marines. Got to talk a little bit about the election. Guess we got to talk about Hurricane Nicole. Thankfully, not that bad of a storm. But what I want to talk about is like how hyped the dude I saw this morning on Fox News was about the storm. So that's coming up later. Also found this on Loudwire this morning. One stunt that Steve-O refused to do on Jackass. Also, today's Thursday. That means Thursday Night Football on Amazon. It's going to be a barn burner tonight as the Falcons and the Panthers face off. I don't like being pessimistic. I said this week, man, NFC South is garbage. So it's going to be a barn burner tonight. We'll talk about that later. Also going to talk about something that President Biden said in his press conference yesterday that kind of bothered me. That is on the way in the Power Hour. Did you see this video? King Charles got eggs thrown at him. We're going to look at that video later on in the Power Hour. Many thousands of layoffs at Facebook. We have some workers upset on how they got laid off. And also internet life. How much time do you think we spend on the internet every day? That is coming up later in the Power Hour. So again, thank you to all the Marines. Happy birthday to the Marines today, celebrating their birthday on this November the 10th. So if you're listening on the Planet, thank you. The online station that's playing rock from the 90s and 2000s. ListenToThePlanet.com, that is our website. Oh, by the way, the store is up and at 'em on our website, ListenToThePlanet.com. You can go and buy some Planet swag. That should be up. What else? App Store, Google Play, search for Listen to the Planet. You can download the app. Alexa, enable the Planet online skill. Then say, Alexa, play the Planet online. We're also on TuneIn Radio. Search for the Planet 90s, 2000s rock. And we're on the iHeart platform too. So all over online, you can listen to all the rock that we've been missing from the 90s and 2000s. Now, Facebook Live, I got that going on. Facebook Live is not really my main platform for this. Obviously, the main platform is on the air on the Planet. This is part of my morning show. But I wanted to do more online content. I kind of wanted to up my game on YouTube again, get a podcast again, and I decided to tie all this in because I got a lot of work to do during the day, and I've been mentioning over the past few days, most of this I'm doing by myself. So recording it, Facebook Live, I take the video, it's up on our YouTube channel, which is the Planet Power Hour with Chris Logan. I believe that's what it is. That's what it is. So you can go and subscribe. We're on Spotify. You can search for the Power Hour with Chris Logan there. And then also coming soon, audio podcast to Apple and Google. So that's kind of what we're doing with our Power Hour. So we still do not know the entire results of the election. And it is Thursday. But we were warned, right, by KJP, the press secretary, that it would take days. You know, that's how democracy works. And I mean, I think it's a little bit of BS. I really do. It's 2022. You know, how are some states, I mean, aren't there a ton of voters in Florida? I guess I could look up those numbers, but you got some states that have a lot of voters and they get it done, like election night. Then you got other states that can't get it done in 1, 2, they need 3 days. Control of the House and Senate still up for grabs. Although it still looks like Republicans will take control of the House. Also, yesterday it was announced that there's going to be a runoff in Georgia. Warnock and Walker. I saw people on TikTok yesterday just scrolling, and you know, the way the TikTok algorithm works, you know, once you stop on a video, once you engage in a video, they start showing you more of it. And so I stopped on a video yesterday, and it was this nice young mom from Georgia, you know, crying. She was literally crying, asking people how they could vote for Herschel Walker and his extreme point of views. Extreme. Herschel Walker kind of running on a conservative type platform, values, morals, but nowadays, that's extreme? I don't know. But I'm sure, you know, if you're scrolling social media, you've probably seen a lot of that, depending on which way you lean. I mean, but, you know, that's the thing now. Extreme. Voting for Republican is extreme. You're an extremist if you do. But, you know, there's this other thing, you know, this other part of me, when it comes to social media, online stuff, I feel that we always see the extreme of both sides. We hardly ever see the middle. You know, like if you are a Republican, you think this way and you're extreme. And then if you're a Democrat, you're way left and you're way extreme. Because that is what we see on social media. That is what we're being fed. But we're not seeing that middle. You know, is that middle gone? And it's all extreme? I don't know. But Georgia runoff. Then what else? Arizona, who always has problems when it comes to the election, in Nevada. But man, taking days to count, don't you have some questions about that? As an American, don't you have questions? Or, oh, it's okay. And then this morning I was kind of flipping through stations on CNN. They were showing some changes in the Arizona election. They were like, when you went to bed last night and you woke up this morning, now things are different. Kind of makes me say, a little bit. Just a little bit. But I guess we'll have to wait till Friday to see the results of the election. I don't know. Maybe we'll all get an app or something to vote. I don't know, man. I don't know. But a sad story coming out of Melville. The Melville mayor passed away in an automobile accident. Miss Velma Hendricks. And sad story, man. Condolences to her family. She was running for re-election, and when I saw this, obviously, sad news. But I just thinking about it, I'm like, man, what happens in that situation? Because you don't hear about that too much. And so I found a story on klfy.com that talked about it a little bit in how they're going to move on since Miss Hendricks sadly passed away. But according to KLFY, the St. Landry Parish Clerk of Court, Charles Jegno, said the process from this point on when someone passes away, either during qualifying or during the election, the qualifying will be reopened until Monday. If no one qualifies, then the person with the highest number of votes in the election so far will become the mayor. And then based on the election on November 8th, it would go to Sheila Landerno. She would be the new mayor of Melville if no one else qualifies. But then, let's see, Mr. Jegno went on to say if someone qualifies, then there would be a 3 or 4-way race to decide for the mayor position. And then her mayor's term, Ms. Hendricks, lasted until January, and they said the council in Melville will select an interim mayor until a new candidate is elected. Sad situation, but I didn't know. I didn't know what happened in that situation. You know, she got in an automobile accident on Tuesday. So wanted to mention that this morning as well. Hurricane Nicole, that's also another headline today. And look, living in South Louisiana, we have always been, we know about hurricanes. We've been through a lot, some of us more than others. And we've been through 1s and 2s and 3s, been through tropical storms, and it can all cause some problems, some devastations, and it just depends on the storm. But this morning, again, I like to go back and forth between the news stations and just, see what the coverage is like and what each of them are talking about. And so Fox News had their guy in Daytona Beach. And obviously, there's some erosion issues in Daytona Beach. Now, do storms, tropical storms, hurricanes cause more problems for erosion? Yes. But dude, this cat was going off like he was in the middle of a Category 8. And there was part of their boardwalk, which was a cement boardwalk, that collapsed. I'm guessing probably, I don't know, if I had to guess, judging by his live video, probably maybe 14 by 14, 15 by 15, maybe something like that. It collapsed. And it was because, I would say it was because, but he was speculating it was because the erosion underneath kind of caused the sinkhole, and then the boardwalk collapsed a bit. But dude was going off, man. And look, again, we see all this. Weather Channel, Fox News, CNN, whatever you want to do. And we kind of see these reporters embellishing a little bit, right? Exaggerating a little bit. Like there was a piece of wood. It looked like a shelf. And dude was calling it like driftwood. And I just embellishing this big old story. And I'm like, man, stop. Stop. And look, I think this morning, 110,000 customers were out of power. I think before we got on the air with a power hour, that went up to 230,000. So it's not like this was a huge storm, but it's not like it was a couple showers. I mean, Nicole made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane just south of Vero Beach, Florida. And I'm not downplaying that. But the storm wasn't as serious as some that we've seen in the past. And this dude was acting like it was just the worst thing ever. People are coming out to assess the damage. And that's when he picked up the little piece of wood that looked like a shelf. There's driftwood coming in from I'm like, come on, dude. And then also, It's kind of like, and I guess they teach you this in journalism school, right? I told you yesterday that I didn't go to college. I didn't. Got my radio job, everything. Didn't go to college, right? Didn't need a degree to get into radio. Just I was a music lover, wedding DJ, club DJ, all that stuff. Got my foot in the door. I was let go for not getting the shot. But, here I am with my own Chris Logan media company. But do they have a bank of words that reporters have to use when they're out covering a storm? Everyone uses the same bank of words, and it's almost like this dude this morning had his bank of words to use from a storm. And he was just embellishing so much. It's like, okay, maybe this guy covered a hurricane that was worse than this one. And look, they're all bad. I'm not downplaying that. They all have the potential to cause some damage. But he was using that bank of words, man. And I'm like, stop. You're looking like an idiot now. I say this to some people, and I'm going to say it this morning on the air. Social media is a double-edged sword. It's good in some ways. It's bad in some ways. It's good in some ways. It helps get the word out, helps connection. It also, I feel, helps us see the other side to things. Again, some are true, some's not true. We gotta decipher what's true and not true. But social media gives us another side of things. For instance, let's just use that Hurricane Nicole as an example. The news was going off, man, like this was just, the waves are pouring in. Then there was some dude yesterday, it was drizzling, and there was some wind, and there was some whitecaps. Dude was walking on the boardwalk like this. Yeah. It's raining, man. It's just raining. But just gotta go to the extreme. But, back in the day, we didn't have social media. We had to take the news's word for it. We had to, because that's all we had. Until a newspaper came out, magazine story came out. There was no live, up-to-date information. Now there is. This thing right here. You can go to TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, during whatever event. There's protests, there's unrest in China, whatever it is. We can see what the news is feeding us, or we can see what people on the ground are seeing. So that's like part of the double-edged sword of social media. It's good and bad. It's bad because I don't know. Good and bad, but coming back to this dude on Fox News this morning, I just wanted to say, stop, dude, stop. You're doing too much here. The bank of words that your news director or journalist professor told you to use, okay, use that in a category 4. This is not that bad of a storm. Anyway, moving on from that. Also wanted to talk about this morning. I found it on loudwire.com. And back in the day, I was a fan of Jackass. The movie, the series, Steve-O, Johnny Knoxville, Ryan Dunn, all those cats. Saw those dudes back in, I think, 2001. This was like right when it was all started. And some of them started even before Jackass. They had CKY, and they were kind of doing their own thing before MTV and Jeff Tremaine took over. But, CKY, they were kind of doing the same thing before they got to MTV. But me and a handful of friends of mine went to Winter Music Conference in Miami, Florida. And we drove there because some of us didn't want to fly. So we drove from Lafayette all the way to Miami Beach. It was a great trip. Not going to talk about that. But we had stopped to eat, kind of like when we got in Miami, and we were at a Bennigan's, and it was nearby the airport. And when we got in there, like all the Jackass dudes were in there, like all of them. They were at the bar drinking, having a good time. Little wee man, Steve-O. What's the big guy? Oh, man, he wears the diaper and stuff a lot. Why can't I think of his name? But, back in the day, they did some very strange stunts, some dangerous stunts. And I think they have a new movie that's supposed to come out. But, and when I saw this, it was one stunt that Steve-O refused to do. And that guy did a lot of different things. But the one that he refused to do was when they stuck the toy car, or they wanted to stick the toy car up the backside of Steve-O, and that's where he drew the line. That was one that he refused to do when the first Jackass film came out in 2002. It was officially called Toy Car Up the Butt. Very nice title for that. Now, Steve-O didn't do it, but if you remember, and you watched that back in the day, hard to believe that was 20 years ago, but it was. Hard to believe it was 20 years ago. But the late Ryan Dunn did it. It was a toy car, like a little Matchbox car, Hot Wheels car, or whatever you call them, wrapped up in a condom and shoved up the backside. And then remember, they paid for the doctor visit to have x-rays taken of it, lodged inside of him. In a recent interview, Steve-O says, quote, "Up until the point when I declined to put the toy car up my butt, I had never backed out of a stunt." He says, so that was sort of epic in its own way. The way it played out for Ryan was just, everything about that, nothing could be changed about how that played out to make it any better. Dude had a toy car up his butt. Do remember that. Steve-O also said, quote, "That was the most iconic, most incredible thing we've ever filmed." And he said no. But he did say, he says, explain that when the crew was filming the fourth Jackass film which came out in February of this year. So there wasn't a new one, but it was this year. He wanted to put something up his backside in honor of Ryan Dunn. If you remember, he passed away back in 2011, but his wish to do it was denied by the director, so he was able to get out of it even without trying to. So back in the day, he said no, but to honor Ryan Dunn, he was going to do it in the latest Jackass movie. And that is from loudwire.com if you want to go and check it out. Planet Power Hour, got that going on. We're straight talk about all the headlines of the day here on the Planet, the online station playing rock from the 90s and 2000s. Make sure to subscribe to my new YouTube channel. It is, I can't remember it. The Planet Power Hour with Chris Logan. Yes, that's what it is on YouTube. Subscribe, record this, put it up there. So if you miss a Power Hour, you can go back and watch it at your leisure. Also got us on Spotify as well, the Power Hour. And then going to have an Apple and Google podcast coming soon with just the audio. Vanessa, Chris, a shelf. She's laughing. It was, Vanessa, it was a shelf. Like, it was a piece of wood, and then there was two angled pieces of wood that was there. There was some Hurricane Nicole debris. I don't know where it came from, but dude was calling it driftwood. It was a shelf, man. It was a shelf. But his bank of words that he was given by his news director or his college professor had him talking about driftwood. Stop with the madness. It's hard for people to believe you nowadays. People have this skepticism nowadays. Would you agree with that people have skepticism nowadays? I do. But it's because we can see the other side with this in social media now. We don't have to see everything. Now, is everything that's on the other side true? No, I'm not saying that. But we can see more with this now in the palm of our hands. And we're going to get to internet life and how much time we spend on the internet. Thursday night football tonight. Boys and girls, get ready. It is going to be a barn burner. The Atlanta Falcons taking on the Carolina Panthers. I can't wait to watch it. But, how do you feel about the games on Amazon Prime? After it started, there were a good bit of NFL football fans that weren't happy that they had to subscribe to Amazon Prime in order to see Thursday night games. Now, look, I'm going to be honest. Thursday night games, they weren't very good. Really, even before they're on Amazon Prime. With the way the NFL is, it's hard for the NFL to pick who's going to be a good team, who's going to be a bad team at the beginning of the season, and they haven't had a decent track record of Thursday night football games. Even Monday night football games over the past couple years haven't really been that great. But Falcons and Panthers tonight, Amazon Prime. That is Thursday night football. Tomorrow we're going to talk more about football because on the Planet every Friday and Monday morning we have the Planet Pigskin Update. That's powered by Pass a Lick Cajun Seasoning. And at 8:50 on Fridays, I give you the update, what's coming up, football here in Louisiana. And then on Mondays, we do the update. So that is coming up tomorrow. We'll talk more football, Cajuns, Tigers, and Saints at 8:50 tomorrow morning. Yesterday, and let me see, I should be able to pull this up. I have to be honest here because that's part of what we're going to do in the Power Hour. I have to. But yesterday I was sitting in my office. In fact, I was sitting right here because I have a couple TVs. I have a TV in my studio, and I don't have cable at my office or at my studio, but I do have the Spectrum app on my phone. And since I have Spectrum at home, I can connect and watch cable on my phone, so I just sent it to my TV and watched it that way. So I wanted to see some of the election stuff yesterday. So again, even through my app, I was going back and forth while I was working, just to see what was happening. And they showed the President Biden press conference. Now look, I'm not making this up. Most of the country did not or does not agree with the way the country is heading. You can still see that. I'm not making that up. A guy from the AP brought it up yesterday at the press conference with President Biden. And let me see if I can pull it up because I know I had it. Because his answer to that question, even when I was watching it live yesterday, I'm thinking, Is that the right answer? Crap. Now the link's not working. Hang on. We're going to find it. We're going to find it. Yeah, but I'm thinking like that's not the right answer. And the reporters kind of gave him a tough question, but I just feel that there's just a lot of double standards going on in the media. President Biden doesn't do many press conferences. Man, now I got to do a little searching again. I had it ready to go. And then I closed out. Let's see if I can pull it up here. And I closed out the window. Yep. Okay, here it is. So President Biden was asked about what he would do differently by an AP News reporter. And he cited that people do not agree that the country's going in the right direction. And that was the reason why a lot of people were saying there was going to be a red wave, that people were going to vote different because things weren't going that well in the country. And that really didn't happen. Now, can Republicans still take over? We'll have to wait until next, December 1st to find that out. But yesterday, when President Biden was asked that question, what do you plan on doing differently? He quickly replied, nothing. Nothing. And I'm like, man, that's not the right answer. What do you plan on doing differently after seeing what happened, what people were talking about? And he said, nothing. Let's see if we can get it to come up. Okay, here we go. Now I think we got it. Sorry about that. I had it ready to go, and I guess I closed the tab out, and then I had to go to find it again. Let's see. Bruh, what is happening here? Oh, now I know why. So because I am casting to my TV. Here we go.
For president in 2020.
Okay, there we go. Got it right here. Wanted to pull up the audio. I didn't want it to take this long. So let's hit it now, and I believe it should work like it was supposed to work a long time ago.
So let's hit it 75% of voters say the country is heading into the wrong direction despite the results of last night. What in the next 2 years do you intend to do differently to change people's opinion of the direction of the country, particularly as you contemplate a run for president in 2024?
Nothing, because they're just finding out what we're doing. The more they know.
Mentioned that Americans are frustrated, and in fact, 75% of voters say the country is heading into the wrong direction despite the results of last night. What in the next 2 years do you intend to do differently to change people's opinion of the direction of the country, particularly as you contemplate a run for president in 2024?
Nothing, because they're just finding out what we're doing.
Oh,
the more they do you
hang on one more
do
time.
Differently to change people's opinion of the direction of the country, particularly as you contemplate a run for president in 2024?
Nothing, because they're just finding out what we're doing. The more they know about what we're doing, the more support there is.
Oh, we're just finding out about what he's doing. Okay. Anyway, my apologies for botching that up. I had it all ready to go, and then it wasn't ready to go. And then also because I am airplaying that, then the audio is going to my TV instead of going to my output on my computer. But what do you think about that? Should the answer have been different? What do you plan on doing different? Nothing. 75%. He said 75% of people think that the country's going in the wrong direction. What do you plan on doing different? Nothing. All right, cool. But man, it was, I think what people thought was going to happen, the big red wave, didn't happen. But also think that the Democrat side demonized the Republican side about extremism, democracy, and that's maybe what caused not as much of a red wave. You know, but still, it like nothing's really called. Maybe tomorrow we might know a little bit more. Could be next week, maybe before Christmas. But then, you know, like, could it, I'm not sure of the numbers. I watched it this morning, but could it come down to Georgia? Because when is the Georgia runoff? That's at the beginning of December, right? So could we have to wait all that time? Is it planned that way? Oh, man, why did I say that? I don't know. Got to question a few things. What else are we talking about here on the Power Hour? Got a few things to talk about. We'll see if this video and audio will come up. I think it should. Eggs thrown at King Charles. And also how this dude got taken away was funny to me. Because if someone in the United States would have been taken away by the police this way, there would have been I'm not saying there would have been protests and riots, but watch. I'm gonna show it to you. I'm going to pull it up. But that was one of the big headlines of the day today. I was kind of searching some national, some worldly headlines, and King Charles was walking the streets. You know, obviously there were people around. He was kind of talking, shaking hands, and someone threw eggs. And they threw a few at him. Let's see if I can pull up the story. Let's see if this is going to work a little bit better than what it worked a while ago. And I think it should. So here it is. Man arrested after eggs were thrown at King Charles. Now, if you're not watching on Facebook Live and you're listening on The Planet, you may not see some of this. But here he is. So he's shaking hands, kissing babies like good old politicians supposed to do.
Talking is my new one-on-one interview.
All right, hang on. Let's watch some pre-roll.
That you'll see in a whole new
This is
light.
from CNN.com.
Chris Wallace, Sunday nights at
Which
7
I
on
didn't
CNN.
realize Chris Wallace, by the way, was on CNN now. See, here comes some eggs flying. You saw that? I got picture in picture. So he's looking around because no egg directly hit him. You hear, whoa! Why are you throwing eggs at the king? See, I'm not that great at impressions. So it says here on this story, police have arrested a man after eggs were thrown at King Charles. The eggs missed their target. They're kind of looking around. Now look, now here it is. So they arrested this man. Now luckily, look, again, I'm not condoning anything being thrown at any politicians, even though sometimes we want to, right? And obviously this could have been more serious than eggs. Okay? But, you know, this dude threw eggs at the king. But watch how he was taken away. Watch how he was taken away. Look. They got, and he's a 23-year-old dude. Looks like a little skinny dude too, because you can really see, you can see his little legs. But there's 1, 2, 3. There's like 4 police officers, or maybe like 2 or 3 police officers, and then maybe a civilian helping out. But they got this dude strapped up with some zip ties. It looks like, you know, in the mob movies back in the day, you watch Sopranos, Goodfellas, when somebody got whacked, they wrapped them up, right? Like they wrapped them up in a curtain, a rug or something, and they chained it up, and it was like real tight, and you could just see like almost this vacuum sealed body. That's what it looks like taking this dude away. I mean, they got zip ties on his legs, his ankles, his hands are tied in the back of his back. And it does look like 1, 2, maybe 2 police officers and a civilian's helping out. The civilian's grabbing the zip ties around this dude's knees. I mean, he's just like, look, I mean, they are, now look, he threw some eggs at the king. Does he deserve to be taken away? Yep. I mean, does he deserve to be zip tied up? I mean, he just looks like a little stick. And he's face down. Like they're hauling him away face down. He can't move because he's just zip tied. Get in there. And then people are coming with their phones, obviously. But you have to go and watch this. This is from CNN, but I'm sure if you just Google it, that was kind of the first story that was linked together to that. Imagine if that was the way people got arrested in America. They zip tie your ass like that. I mean, he was just like zip tied his ankles, his knees, his thighs, his wrists behind his back, and they were just carrying him like that, like a loaf of bread, and then put him in the little police van. Wasn't even a car. Like they got a cargo van as a police unit. Oh man, that was funny. Not funny that he threw eggs. And again, it could be worse, but it didn't. It wasn't. He didn't. I mean, and he was a bad aim. He didn't even hit the king with some eggs. Come on, man. Target practice before you go throw eggs at royalty. Come on. But they got him. They zip-tied that cat up, picked him up, put him in the little cargo van. Gone. The power hour is going on until 9 where we are. Probably about 18 or so minutes left. Zip tied up. Still got a couple things I want to talk about. How long we spend on the internet. And it's a long time. And also Facebook layoffs. Wanted to talk about that. And also want to talk about the way that these employees are getting laid off. Because Twitter, Elon Musk smoked a couple people, and supposedly they did it over email. Now, Mark Zuckerberg announces that Facebook or Meta laying off 11,000 employees. So yesterday, Mark Zuckerberg said this, quote, "Today I'm sharing some of the most difficult changes we've made in Meta history. I've decided to reduce the size of our team by about 13% and let more than 11,000 of our talented employees go." Always like that. Like, no, I mean, I don't like that people are getting laid off. But like the descriptions of when people are laid off, it's so talented. We have to let some of our best people go. Should have kept your best people, man. But according to the message from Mark Zuckerberg, employees who are laid off will receive, quote, 16 weeks of base pay plus 2 additional weeks for every year of service with no cap. Also, Amazon saying that they will be extending a hiring freeze. Apple saying they may be having a partial hiring freeze in October. Twitter announced drastic layoffs, as I mentioned, after Elon Musk purchased them last month. Now, Mark Zuckerberg attributes the layoffs to poor investments in the wake of COVID-19. Or did the metaverse not work as well as what you wanted? Or did Meta not work as well as what you wanted, Mark? How do you think Tom would feel in this situation, right? So now Twitter is going to be extreme. Extreme. If you don't think the same way we do, you're extreme. Getting to a point where we can't think for ourselves. They all want us to think the same way. And if you don't think that way, you're extreme. Bring back morals, values. You're extreme. Shut up. Don't kill a baby. You're extreme. Stop. But Mark Zuckerberg also says, quote, "We're taking a number of additional steps to become a leaner and more efficient company by cutting discretionary spending and extending their hiring freeze through Q1. He says at the start of COVID, the world rapidly moved online. 100% agree with him on that. The surge of e-commerce led to outsized revenue growth. He says many people predicted this world would be a permanent acceleration that would continue even after the pandemic ends. I did too, so made the decision to significantly increase our investments." And he's right. The world did take more of a digital turn. In the pandemic, you had to. You had to take a digital turn because they had shut us down. A lot of people moved online. That was the trend. But is it backfiring for some of these companies? Maybe. But where would Tom from MySpace be in this situation? What would Tom do? Would we still have a MySpace profile song? Would Tom be playing along with the national media? Would Tom take more of a Mark Zuckerberg approach? Would Tom take more of an Elon Musk approach? Would Tom just be Tom with MySpace? I wasn't that big on MySpace because it was kind of at that time where, and I think I had a MySpace page, just one, but I didn't grow up in that time, so it wasn't a huge deal for me. MySpace, man, started it all. Now it's nowhere. Maybe Tom needs to bring it back. Maybe it's time for him to bring it back. Internet life. How much of our life are we spending on the internet? We're spending a pretty good bit. How much do you think? How much of our day you think is spent on the internet? Now, look, a lot of people are working online too. And I'm not sure, according to the story, how much that they took that into consideration, or is this more or less leisure time? But it says the internet just doesn't help your life. It is your life. This is from Statista. Recent research shows that the average time spent on the internet per person is 397 minutes, 6 hours and 37 minutes per day. 6 hours and 37 minutes per day. It's like we can call it half the day. It's 24 hours in the day. You spend what? 7-8 hours sleeping. 24 minus 8 is what? Cool. Can't even do that. 16. So let's just say you sleep for 8 hours a day. I know you don't. I don't. But let's just say you get a nice restful 8 hours a day of sleep. 16 hours of doing stuff. 8 to 10 hours of that's probably work. But 6 hours, basically, out of a 15, 16-hour day spent on the internet. Crazy, huh? Wonder how much of that time spent on social media. Because look, I'm not saying that I don't spend a lot of time on the internet, because I do. But it's also part of what I do as well. I mean, look, we're doing it right now. Like, I'm on the internet right now, on social media right now. And I'm on the internet in more ways than one. Yes, we are doing a Facebook Live, but I have an online station. And, that was part of my decision in launching the planet. Obviously I was, let go from my job due to not getting the thing in my arm, but always a dream of mine being in radio for such a long time, man. I'd love to have my own radio station. But things change. AM, FM going to be changing. Whether you want to believe it or not, it will. Because this thing taking over our lives, the little phone. And that's okay. I'm not saying get off my lawn. Adapting. I mean, it's this thing right here. We do everything. What time is it? I don't know. Let me check. Right? 8:51. I don't do this anymore. I don't look at my wrist. We pull up our phone. It's going to rain today? Oh, let's tune into the local radio station, and they might say the percent of rain today. Might have to wait 15, 20 minutes, but it's coming up after the 10-minute commercial break. Here. It's all right here. Like even now with a new I have the new iPhone, the new iOS. I don't have a brand new iPhone. But it's 8:51 here in Church Point, 60 degrees, mostly sunny. High today of 77, low of 51. Here. Headlines of the day, here. Whatever you want. Need to deposit a check? Here. Need to check your fantasy football team? Here. This little thing. And they got us too. They also got us with this little thing as well. They got us. But 6 hours and 37 minutes per day. I'll round that up. That's almost 7 hours a day on the internet. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. But that is our lives. You know, I mentioned it we were talking about the people getting laid off from Facebook. Just a lot of time people are spending on social media. Oh, and by the way, people that got let go from Facebook got let go via email. Also Twitter, too. Not that happy about that. You work at a tech company. Probably you're a remote worker. That could become the new reality. You want to talk about new things? Getting laid off or fired via email. Is it kind of a weak move? Yeah. If you're doing construction, right? You're on the construction site. You're a heavy machine operator, right? You're running that excavator. And you get fired. Are they going to do it over email? Nope. I mean, a construction site, your boss is probably going to come up to you and say, hey, bro, you're doing a bad job. Get your ass off that excavator. You're fired. You might get into a fight. You know, but that's how it's done, right? That's how it's done that way. And that person's probably not going to go to a lawyer and want to sue because he knows he was doing a bad job. He wasn't grading the dirt right. It's just a whole different thing. But if you work for Facebook, Twitter, and you get laid off via email, come on. You work for a tech company, man. Probably everything that's done at that company is done through email and intranet something. And you're going to want to cry when you get let go via email? Now, look, I'm not joking around about people losing their jobs. That's not a good thing. So don't try to get upset with me on that. But, I mean, it's over email. You work for a tech company. I mean, would it have been better if Mark Zuckerberg would have sent a robot to can you? Would that have been better? Would it have been better if he would have fired you in the metaverse? Look, we got a few things going on today, y'all. Everyone put on their VR goggles. We have a meeting in the metaverse. If you got this email at 2:15 today, they put on their little goggles, man. They go to their little metaverse office. They have all their avatars, and there's Mark Zuckerberg. Hey, you're fired. Walks out the metaverse meeting room. Would that have been better? That'd have been cool as hell, though, if that would have happened, right? How'd you get fired from Facebook? Dude, they fired me in the metaverse. I got fired in the metaverse. It was awesome. Got fired via email. They need to look into that. I would fire people in the metaverse. Hey, meeting today in the metaverse meeting room, 2:15. Wonder what's going on. Now, they can't bring pizza in the metaverse. I mean, I guess you can in the metaverse. Back in radio, you had pizza at a meeting. Something was going down. A new corporate owner or something like that. The stations were getting sold or something if you had a pizza meeting. Imagine getting fired in the metaverse, though. Is that better than email? That would be cool. How'd you got fired? Man, they fired me in the metaverse. So we're getting close to our hour wrapping up today. Again, happy birthday to the Marines, all the Marines who served. Thank you. My nephew Brett was a Marine. And thank you for your service, everyone, all the Marines. Don't forget, tomorrow, Veterans Day. So, talked about that today. Talked a little bit about the election. We still don't know. Will it be later this week, next week, December, after the Georgia runoff? Don't know. Talked about Hurricane Nicole and the reporting that's being done surrounding Hurricane Nicole. And I think it's only because we experienced that here in South Louisiana, right? Like, we really experienced that. So when we see reporters doing an exaggerating job on TV, it's like, come on, man. It's not driftwood. It was a shelf that you picked up. Notice the angle, 2 angle pieces of wood on the side. That was just somewhere there. It was somewhere. Like the only piece of wood that was around. His producer probably went find that and he threw it in the grass for him to go in. Oh, look at this piece of driftwood came in. Using those words they only use when it's storm time. News director. Okay, y'all. Category 1 storm. Time to brush up on your storm words. You're only allowed to use these words, no matter if it's a tropical storm or Category 8. Climate change is going to bring us a Category 8 too. Talked about Steve-O. One stunt he refused to do. The toy car up the backside. Talked about Thursday night football tonight. Falcons and Panthers. It's going to be a great one. It's going to be a great one. Talked about President Biden and his press conference yesterday. The one thing that kind of stuck out to me and bothered me. Sir, 75% of people said the country's going in the wrong direction. What do you plan on doing different? Nothing. Talked about eggs being thrown at King Charles. And the 23-year-old dude that threw him, 1, he's a bad aim. 2, dude got zipped up. It's like they were carrying away, like the mob, the gangsters, the mafia was carrying away Tony Soprano, and then were carrying away a dead body. They zipped this dude up with some zip ties, grabbed him, threw him in their little police van. Imagine that happening here in America. Zipped him up. Zipped him up. Talked about Facebook layoffs. I wouldn't have done it via email. I think I'd have done it via the metaverse. And then internet life, spend 6 hours, 37 minutes a day on the internet. Thanks for spending a little time with me on the internet today, here on the Planet Power Hour. Thanks for spending a little time with the planet, no matter if it's in the morning, midday, afternoon, nighttime, the online station playing rock from the 90s and 2000s. Download the app. That is a very easy way to listen. Listen to the planet. Search for that, App Store, Google Play. Listen to the planet. Or go to listentotheplanet.com. Our store is also there. Got some Planet swag, got some shirts, got some caps, got some koozies, water bottles, sweatshirts, hoodies, all kind of cool stuff. Also, all the other ways you can listen, that's all on the website too. Alexa, got all the stuff for that. iHeart, all that great stuff. But wrapping it up for today. Tomorrow morning, we'll be back. Friday morning, 8 a.m. It is another Planet Power Hour. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you watching today. Have a great rest of your Thursday.